Hello. How's it going? Using the backup camera again, so no HD. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. That's two strikes in a row. Um, I have another camera. That's the same camera as that. I'm gonna try that next week. But it's happened a few times. I don't know if it's YouTube or the camera itself. But anyway, we're here using the computer camera, so hopefully you can hear everything. Let's disengage this just in case. Hopefully you can hear me. We'll find out. Anyway, I watched a few things, so let's just jump right into it. All right, here we go. I didn't think I was going to have much this week, but I ended up watching some stuff. So this is a new acquisition. Just came out too. This is Tulsa Terrors. Oh, there we go. I got it like a VHS tape. So this is a really cool documentary about the shot on video market in its very early stages. I want to say one of the first movies that was created using that technology, Blood Cult. It's a documentary about that, and the three movies that the same team put together: Blood Cult, Ripper, and then Revenge. And then they also talked to other filmmakers in Tulsa who made films after those, or I'm sorry, shot on video movies rather, um, in the Tulsa area. And there was a big boom for that. And it's they kind of talk about the rise and fall, and it unfortunately, like a lot of things, kind of died out, and what was funny to me as a movie maker, listening to some of the conversations from the people involved, and they go, they're using old archival footage from the 90s and late 80s, and the gentleman behind Blood Cult, the writer director, was, they talked to him, I think 10 years after it was in the 90s, and he was saying how bad the market is. And that was the 90s, and all I'm thinking is I'm in 2025 making movies saying how bad the market is. So I mean, maybe it wasn't as bad as they thought. I would have dreamt to have made movies back then, when you had video stores. There was money to be made. Now, I'm not going to go into details, but things are looking bleak for Gator Blade Films. I mean, seems like every time I make a movie, it gets harder, budgets get smaller, just the sales get smaller, and I'm just like, why? And then something good will happen, people will chime in, something amazing will happen, and it'll keep me going again. It's just like these little things keep happening, and I'm like, all right, well, I won this, or this person really liked it, or hey, they want to show it over here, or hey, I made a couple bucks on Fatal Desires. It's doing great. Currently sold out. I haven't done that since I don't even think Swamp Woman did numbers like that, and that was a pretty decent hit for me. But I can't keep it in stock. I just ordered some more. I'm got to ship to the distribution house and get that going. Anyway, though, I'm going off track. Tulsa Terrors, really great doc about shot on video movies made in the Tulsa area. Probably the most famous one is Ripper with Tom Savini. They got a big picture of him. I don't think he's really proud of it, but they got him for that movie, and I think it helped it sell. This is streaming as well. I think you gotta pay to rent it, but I bought the Blu-ray. I like documentaries like this, and I like those movies involved, so I want to check it out. So that's Tulsa Terrors. Check her out. All right, up next. Ooh, The Last Dragon. Not the first dragon, the last one. So this is an 80s karate movie, most likely coming off the fame and fortune of the Karate Kid movies. I think Karate Kid was 86. Yeah, this is 1985. Maybe this came out before. Or maybe Karate Kid was 84. I don't know. Around the same time. Coming of age story from character Bruce Leroy. Not Bruce Lee, Bruce Leroy. Bruce Lee does make some cameo appearances on a movie screen, which is kind of cool. So this character Bruce Leroy, he's a karate champ. He's really obsessed with karate, and he's kind of an urban kid. And he ends up finding love and finding an enemy, all in the same hour and a half. And things work out for Mr. Bruce Leroy. Fun movie, very 80s. Stars one of my favorite stars from the 80s, Vanity. which you may know from the musical group Vanity Six. She's also in 52 Pickup, a bunch of other movies. I always liked her. R.I.P. Unfortunately, she's not around anymore. But she's in this. She does a great job. Plays a great love interest for Bruce Leroy. Fun karate fights, fun 80s soundtrack, fun 80s clothes, fun 80s style. If you've never seen The Last Dragon, check it out. So, quick story in this. I was supposed to see this last night at the movie theater. It's the 40th anniversary of this movie. And me, my friend Bob Glazer, and Chris Woods, we went. And they said the theater was on fire. So, it didn't look like it was on fire. They would not let us in. Couldn't watch the movie. So, I'm like, I'm going to watch my trusty DVD. That's why we have these things. Watch it anytime. So, that's The Last Dragon. All right, up next. Ooh, The Green Inferno. So this is, I don't want to use the word rip off, almost like a big homage to Cannibal Holocaust, which I'm really not a fan of. I won't go into details on that, but not a big fan of that movie. With that being said, I did like The Green Inferno. It's an Eli Roth movie. He seems to catch a lot of flack for some reason. I've never had a problem with Eli Roth. I don't get it. Whatever. I like most of his movies, and I like this one. It was fun. It was exploitive. I watched this with some friends that had never seen it, and I didn't realize how exploitive it really was. There's some pretty crazy, raunchy, gory stuff going on here. And I mean, this movie came out in, I want to say 2016. And I mean, we're talking 9 years ago. And even back then, I mean, that was, I'm watching this. I saw this in the theater. I'm just like, man, wouldn't happen now. There's no way. I know he recently got a movie in the theater. He didn't direct it. He produced it. It's called Jimmy and Stiggs and a whole campaign. I didn't really care for that one. But hey, I'm glad to see a director like that can still get movies in the theater. I mean, it's getting harder and harder, even for guys like Eli, man. With that being said, Green Inferno is a lot of fun. Very gory, very cannibalistic, very exploitive. Fun movie. Watch it with some friends. I did. We had fun watching it, and they were, I don't want to say that they're normals, but they're, maybe not as desensitized as I am. So, it was fun watching this with people that normally don't watch stuff like that. But anyway, that's The Green Inferno. Okay. All right. Next up, Miss 45. So I don't know if you can tell, this DVD is actually not even opened. I've had this since I bought it in 2014. You're thinking, Sean, how the hell did you watch it? I have a really bad habit that when something is streaming and I happen to own it, I can't open it. It's like I'm saving it for a rainy day when there's no other options. It's like I'm keeping it sealed, for a rainy day. With that being said, I've seen this movie several times. I used to have another DVD release that I think I sold because I'm like, why do I need two of these? I think Arrow just put it out in a nice box set, but I'm happy with this collector's edition, fully restored, first time in HD, even though it's DVD. Includes DVD and digital copy of Miss 45. So I'm to understand that the VHS version of this movie is a totally different cut than this and anything released after it. The new Arrow edition may be the VHS cut. Supposedly has more, exploitive stuff in it. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't know. This is the one I have. This one is 80 minutes. So if you have a version of it that's longer than 80 minutes, that's probably the version with the, the spicy stuff. But Miss 45, I got to say, first time I saw this movie, I didn't even realize the main character didn't talk. Like it was so, it just really threw me back. I was just, shocked and surprised at some of the things I saw that I didn't even pay attention. She wasn't talking. This is a great movie. It's a revenge movie. Might be a little tough for some people to handle, but I've always liked it. The lead actress is amazing. I don't think she's around anymore, unfortunately. Abel Ferrara, which you may know, directed Welcome to New York, Driller Killer, my personal favorite, Bad Lieutenant, a bunch of other stuff. And he directed this. And I don't think I've ever seen a movie from that guy I didn't like. A lot of fun. Miss 45. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Should I go with the second? Let's go in order. So here we go. Tron. This is the double discer DVD set that I purchased whenever this was first released. This is the 20th anniversary, excuse me, collector's edition. Bunch of special features on here. I know there's a Blu-ray release. There might even be a 4K now. I'm content with this. A lot of times, a little secret, and I haven't seen the blue or possibly the 4K release. I started noticing this because for a little minute I was trading up some DVDs to Blu-rays, and then I started noticing that the special features on the next generation Blu-ray weren't, from the DVD weren't there, and I'm like, wait a second here. I don't want to get hoodwinked and lose out on, the making of Tron or deleted scenes or the production photo gallery. I want it all. So not all Blu-rays or 4Ks, transfer the supplemental material, which I don't like. So you can kind of see it's kind of a lenticular cover, which is cool. So anyway, Tron. If you've never seen Tron, you need to change that. The original is still my favorite. I haven't seen the new one. I was supposed to see it. Again, it didn't happen. But Tron, always been a fan. I grew up with this movie, that video gamey aspect and that look. Like I'd never seen a movie look like that before. It was new technology when this came out. I don't think anyone had ever seen anything like that. And I don't want to go so far to say it still holds up. I mean, I think some people watch and say it looks dated. I still enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's great. It's Tron. It's my favorite video game movie. If I had to pick one, there's several. Jeff Bridges, great actor, like him in almost anything, and plays a really big part in this. As well as Cindy Morgan. Love her from my favorite movie, Caddyshack, and it's great to see her in this. And this is Tron, man. This is, next generation type stuff. This is sci-fi. It's a Disney movie, and I think it's one of their highest grossing live action movies, I believe. Tron, do it. Check her out. All right, so you watch Tron. Where do you go? Tron Legacy. I saw this when it first came out in the theater. I think this was 2013, 14. Can't find the dates. I feel it's around that time, like 10, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. It's a DVD. I'm sure this has a blue and possibly even 4K. When this came out in the theater, saw it with a friend. We didn't hate it. We didn't love it either, though. We grew up with the original Tron, and this one it looks different. They were using different technology. They started using AI, and it didn't look good. They had to show a younger version of Jeff Bridges, and this is like early AI. I think it was one of the first movies they tried something like that, and it wasn't working for me. But besides that, like the action sequences, the light cycle stuff. I gotta say, rewatching this, I enjoyed this a lot more. 10 years after the fact. I did enjoy it. When I first saw it in the theater, I think I was just comparing it to the original too much. I'm like, it wasn't the original. It's never is. Movies rarely, are the original. But as a standalone movie, I enjoyed this. It was fun. The technology they use for the CGI and just like the light cycle stuff, the disc throwing things, like it looked really good. It didn't look like the original, but it had its own unique look. So I'm excited to see Tron Ares and see what they did 10 years later. What's it going to look like? So that movie seems to be getting a lot of bad reviews. But I've talked to 3 friends that have seen it, and they all really liked it. They said it's not very dialogue-y, it's very actiony, which I don't have a problem with. I want to see it. I don't care if it's getting bad reviews. I want to judge it on myself. And I could not like it, and then it could be one of those things I buy it and I like it 10 years later. And that's why I have this, because if I didn't own this movie, all I would have is the memory that I had when I originally saw it, and I didn't really like it. And like I said, I like it more now. You're always changing, growing as a person. You never know what, and there's movies that I used to like and I watch them now and I don't like them as much. So, there's that. But it's just interesting, having physical media and watching yourself change around it. But anyway, that's Tron and Tron Legacy. Enjoyed them both. Want to see Tron Ares? Check it out. Okay. All right. Let's do this one. So, Basic Instinct 2. All right. Love the original. This one came out, I believe, 14 years later because I watched the behind the scenes stuff. They do interviews with the director, with the lead actor. I mean, Sharon Stone, obviously, but her counterpart, Michael Canton Jones. So when you're watching the behind the scenes, they talk about how much they love making this, what a great time they had on set, how much they enjoyed it, and how much hope they had for it. I gotta say, man, I didn't like this at all. Sharon Stone felt very forced. It's like the original, she played the part, and this one she was trying to play the part. And I see that in a lot of sequels where that happens, and it's unfortunate. And on top of that, the story just wasn't doing it for me. I mean, it had some explicit sex scenes, and a erotic thriller like it should. I mean, it had those elements. I mean, it was definitely an erotic thriller. It's not the worst erotic thriller, but when you set the bar up here, it's hard to, you know, and it didn't, man. I've only seen this movie one other time when it came out, and I didn't remember it, and I probably didn't remember it because it wasn't that good. And I have a tendency when if I pick up an old movie that I've seen, I don't remember it, I watch it again, I'm like, why'd I do that? Because the reason I remember it because it wasn't that great. That's how I felt about Basic Instinct, unfortunately. But I bought this used copy. I got the first one. I like having it in the collection because where else are you gonna go from here? Maybe they'll make a third one. I don't know. I mean, Sharon Stone has got to be in her 60s at least, and Michael Douglas. I mean, I think he's in his 70s, maybe even older than that. That'd be kind of funny to make a part three with both of them. Um, but I don't know. Check it out. I wouldn't rush out to see it, but if you enjoyed the first one, check out the second one. All right. Last but not least, this is a double Blu-ray discer of The Shining and Doctor Sleep. So I've seen both these movies several times. The Shining more than Doctor Sleep because it's older. Let's start with The Shining. Shining, masterpiece. I have a friend that's not a real big fan of it, which is just kind of weird to me. But hey, he likes stuff that I don't like. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that don't care for The Shining. I get it. It's not for everybody. To me, it's a masterpiece. It's one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick films. I don't think Stephen King appreciates it much because it's different than the story he wrote. I get it. I can understand that as a writer director, but the movie is amazing. And I'm sorry, Stephen, that it didn't coincide with your book. Jack Nicholson. I mean, I think it's my favorite role with him. Shelley Duvall too, and young Danny. I can't remember the actor. What is his name? Danny Lloyd. Scatman Crothers. Always liked that guy. I've seen him in a few movies, but I think he's probably most well known for this. Kind of the red herring hero in this. I don't want to give anything away in case you haven't seen it, but great camera work, great spooky soundtrack, great chase scenes, great evolving of a psychotic episode. It's just this movie's got a lot of layers. I'm still always seeing new stuff when I watch it. I mean, for years, like this time watching it, it doesn't scare me anymore because I've seen it so much. But I mean, rarely does a movie, I watch it once, it scares me, when I was younger, and then I'll watch it again. It's like, this one like scared me for years. It was still freaking me out, and I mean, now it doesn't anymore, but I mean, for the longest time, it was still scary to me. I can watch it alone now. It's whatever, but this one used to freak me the hell out, man. That's The Shining, classic. Stanley Kubrick, Stephen King. I mean, come on. With those two headliners, you can't go wrong. So with that being said, where do we go next? Doctor Sleep. So I heard about this movie when it was about to come out, or even way before. I didn't read the book. Thought it was an odd title. I was like, I don't get it. Doctor Sleep. That's the sequel to Shining. I didn't understand. Then I saw the movie, and it is clearly explained why it's called Doctor Sleep. So this one follows Danny. He's all grown up, and Edwin McGregor plays his role. And there's also flashback scenes of Scatman Crothers and Shelley Duvall and those characters, and Jack Nicholson and the bartender in the Overlook Hotel. And it really is a really amazing story that I just didn't see coming. I saw this in the theater twice when it came out. I enjoyed it so much. I do like the original Shining better, but I mean, man, this is a great movie on its own. You know, it's as good as it could have been. Really enjoyed Doctor Sleep. Also very spooky in its own way and very original. I'd never seen anything like that before. You know, again, I don't want to give anything away, but you know what they did is not what I was expecting. It was something different, man. Actors did great. You know, a lot of the familiar score from the first one is in it. I don't think the camera work is quite as good as the original. I mean, not that it's bad, but you know, the camera work in the original, just angles they were getting, and some of the things they did were just insane. With that being said, I really enjoyed Doctor Sleep. You know, watch them both. I hope you got 4 hours to spare. I think maybe even a little longer than that. And this is a double discer, Blu-ray. I'm sure there's other releases of it, possibly DVD, possibly a better version. I'm fine with this. That's The Shining and Doctor Sleep. Check her out. All right, so that's it. So any updates? I'm gearing up towards Jacko 2 with Fred Olin Ray. That's in December. Next, so we're going backwards. I kind of skipped over that. October 27th, Monday, I'll be at the Grindhouse Brew Lab in Clearwater with Gia Love and Dr. Paul Bear. I'll have some of my goodies. I think I have 1 copy of Fatal Desires left. That thing's been selling like gangbusters, man. I'm actually just holding on to it to bring to the event. And Think I'll have my whole catalog. I got some comics I'm getting rid of. So come on out. I think Gia Love's gonna have some of her glossies and some other goodies. I think she has VHS copies of her movie Kill City Cup. It's like a wrestling movie. I'm sure she'll have those hopefully. And then Dr. Paul Bear, man, Dr. Paul Bear too, which is really cool. I've kind of grown to like him, and he's gonna have his hearse. Take pictures, meet him. If you've never met him, it's a perfect opportunity. It's just a little mini event at a bar. Andy Lolino, the organizer, will be there. He is the guy who runs Tampa Bay Screams now, so it's his event, and I will be attending. And then, I will not be attending, unfortunately, because I have something else going on. But October 30th at the OCC Roadhouse is Scream Queen Halloween, hosted by Tampa Bay Screams, and Fred Olin Ray will be there. Rhonda Shear, Denise Duff, April Hunter, a bunch of people, local celebrities all around will be there. And that should be a lot of fun. It's the Devil's Night, day before Halloween. So you should go check it out if you can. I would totally go if I didn't already have a previous engagement. I'm going to the Electric Hellfire Club. Never seen them before, so I'll be doing that. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week.